Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And I'm hoping that you haven't had too much stress this week, but if you have, let's talk about it. And if you are watching this on the replay, feel free to leave us a comment and we will, talk about it if we can. So, one of the things that I want to talk about is one of the things that gives us all a lot of stress is making decisions. And the quotes that we're having this weekend are all about making decisions. For those of you who don't know, Dear Mama Sal is a group of people who get together 3 times a week um, to help each other go through life. And we realize that life is not always easy, but sometimes it's wonderful. And so therefore we like to share the good, the bad, and the ugly, and in so doing, help each other. And we're going to be talking today a little bit about walking to the beat of your own drum. And the reason that I wanted to do that is because so many of us are people pleasers. So many of us think that we need to do things so that other people will be happy, not that we will be. Hi there, Jody, by the way, and I just wanted to introduce you. Jody is our admin, for those of you who don't know. She looks after me not only during the broadcast, but also during the week as well. Does a wonderful job. So, as a group of people who get together and share the good, the bad, the ugly, one of the things is that we're constantly growing. If you think about that, we are always just growing. And part of this business about, the beat of your own drum is really to have a look and do so regularly. Have a look around your environment. Does your living room suit you, or does it suit, some sort of architectural digest vision of what a living room should look like? I always say that one of the most interesting surveys I did one day with the viewers was, if you had to get rid of one room in your house, which room would it be? And almost everybody said the dining room. We don't have need for a dining room in our lives these days. We live a different sort of life. And so it's about, if you're, I always joke about my house. It used to be a 2-bedroom house with, with a craft room and other things. I now have a 1-bedroom house, a craft room, and a storage locker in my house. It's just like, I choose not to have a spare bedroom. So this to me is a really important thing for us to understand is, live your life to suit you, not to suit other people. It is said that the right decisions are always the hardest to make, but they must be made in order to live the life that you deserve. So these decisions to do things to suit you, not necessarily suit everybody else, are difficult. We do know they're difficult. Before we get on to our main topic, just wanted to give heads up. I don't think there are any birthdays this week. If there are, please let me know if you're a regular viewer, because we don't have you on the list. And just to say that Nyasha did get to the specialist on the 12th, and it seems that things are not necessarily quite as bad as she originally thought, but I could have that wrong. I will have to reread her note to me. But apparently the infection in her one eye is not quite as bad as they thought it was. So that's good. So thoughts and prayers for anybody who might need them. And if you need them, please let me know so that we can put up thoughts and prayers for you. I want to say that I have just today, this morning, finished my Christmas get-togethers. I am the only person on my street that still has their Christmas lights up. And I refused point blank to take them down until the last of my Christmas people had come and we had celebrated Christmas together. Well, that happened today. And so I understand that some people might have judged me for the fact that I still have my lights up, and that's fine. I had them up for my good reason, and that to me is the important reason. And it's the same thing. How many of you still have a Christmas tree up? And I wonder if anybody else does. Obviously, if I haven't finished with Christmas giving yet, then I also am not going to bring down my Christmas tree. And I can hear my mother screaming at me. She's long gone. I can hear my mother screaming at me, going, January the 5th, you take the tree down on January the 5th. Sallykins, that's what she used to call me. And I'm going, no, I take the tree down when I finish my Christmas get-togethers. And I have really changed my whole thing with my family and friends in terms of Christmas get-togethers. I understand that religiously December the 25th is Christmas. No doubt about that. But to me, Christmas with Yvonne and Wade is always in January. I had Christmas today with Doug and Jess and Damien, and so it was just delightful. Right, Jodie's saying her tree is up until the end of January. Yes, if you enjoy your tree, don't feel pressured to take it down. And these days, how many people see it up there anyway? Right? It's just for your pleasure, not yours. In fact, no, that's not true of mine because I actually have mine against a window and I don't close the blinds on that window because it takes up the whole height of the window. And so when I put my tree up, I don't pull my blinds down along that window so that the whole street gets to enjoy the tree. Well, I hope they enjoy it. I think they must do because I get a lot of comments about it. Or else they are really polite about it. How about that one? So now I've got a really interesting thing, which is, I'm a great believer of one step at a time, and everything, goes at the right pace. Your speed is the right speed for you, right? Don't worry about anybody else's speed. So I decided that now that all the Christmas stuff has finished, I can now start bit by bit taking things out of my living room and dining room, and I've already started. I took down the wreath that was here in the kitchen. Every day I've been taking one more thing and putting it into the Christmas box. I have two big totes. However, you also know that I am on a mission this year to downsize yet again. And so I have got these two very big totes of Christmas decorations. And it is my goal to spend 15 minutes this week as I'm packing up the Christmas tree and taking the ornaments down and putting them in the box, is to fill two, that's my goal, to fill two sort of grocery bags full of things out of those boxes, those totes that don't need to be in there. And then to take a really deep breath and not listen to all those voices in my head and just very quickly take them to my garbage bin and throw them away. That's going to take a lot of mental work. All right. I think you all relate to that, right? If you love your little things, I've got some things that have been in that box for 20 years and I don't ever take them out of the box, but every year I see them again and make a decision not to put them in the house. So why have I still got them? Duh. And so that's my goal. Two grocery bags in 15 minutes. Is it doable? Yes, if I want it to be. How about this one? It says you will know you've made the right decision when you pick the hardest and most painful choice, but your heart is at peace. I don't know what it is about throwing away, and I've got presents that I thought I might re-gift, that I never have. So hello, time for them to go as well. So now I'm very happy because I got a deadline, and the deadline is next Monday. Jess is going to be coming with me to the cancer clinic. I've got a follow-up meeting, my first follow-up meeting with the oncologist team. I had the surgery, and now I go to an oncologist team, and they will tell me whether I need to do anything else or not. And I believe the answer is or not, but we won't know until they confirm that. And that'll be next Monday, not tomorrow, but a week afterwards. So I know that Jess is coming that day. And my goal is to get the tree and everything down, the two garbage bags filled and got rid of, and then have the lids on the boxes so that when Jess arrives, we can get those boxes and put them underneath my deck. Then that will be all done. So I've got that all sort of, I hope, working in a good way. And nobody says I have to do that, but that's my goal. How many of you do better when you know I'm going to do it by this date? Not sometime. And I don't know what it is psychologically about having a date that is not movable, that really makes us do things in a much better way. I have a personal mantra that I say, for example, when I know something's a bit difficult or I'm just not, yeah, I keep procrastinating about it. And I always say to myself, Sal, if they paid you $1 million to get this done in the next half hour, how would you do it? It's a very good leveler. It's sort of like, oh, well, that's a whole different story. And so I recommend that you give yourself that sort of motivation, right? As you know, I try every day to go through my house, and each room I try to tidy up one thing. Just one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. And it is amazing how just one more thing every day just definitely make a difference. So I wondered whether any of you have started on Christmas of 2023 yet. You see, you all promised that you were going to do Christmas earlier last year, and did you? And so this year, I'm going to be reminding you all the way down the line. Now, I've got news for you. I actually started Christmas 2023 about 2 months ago. I know that sounds incredible. I already bought the paper. All right, Chris is saying, hi, Chris, good to see you. Chris is saying, I just do money for the kids, right? No shopping for anybody, right? And that's another way. But I get such joy out of giving. I'm very selfish like that, Chris. I actually get joy out of making things and giving them. So that's why I started 2 months ago. And I already ordered all the paper for the cards, so I know I got plenty of stock of that. I've already been ordering paper rolls of paper, contrast paper that I want. So that's already done. And now I'm starting my big project for the year. I'm doing tea light villages, and I just wanted to, you're going to keep seeing them just as I keep working with them. I'll probably knock all this over as I try and lift it up, but just to show you, this is just a very small part of it. You see that? So it is just amazing to do it, quite honestly. And the reason, hi there, Kimmy. The reason I wanted to show you that is because I think you know that I don't believe in coincidences. And I just love this tiny, tiny little Christmas tree fella. See this little guy with a sleigh? Isn't he cute? And there's a Christmas tree that goes with him. So these, very fine work. And yet, why would I choose to do such intricate work when I have arthritis? I'm a great believer, as you know, about if I can still use my hands, I should. And so that's what I am doing. So one of the reasons that I'm doing the Tea Light Villages this year is because I got so much positive feedback from people that I sent things to this year. And so this is like, obviously, they enjoyed my taste or lack of, and therefore let me continue to do stuff that they know I spent time and love to make. So this first series is the Tea Light series. The second series, and by the way, they also have Right? They also have holes in them so that I can thread, um, the string of lights through them, which is going to be really clever. But I'm going to need a year to work out how all that works and whether it works for me. It seems insanely early to start, but it's a lot of work to do. And I've still got a lot of things that I need to sort out. I also need to work out if I want to send it to somebody, what's the minimum space I can use in a box, to send a mini village to somebody. So it's all going to be very interesting work, and it's all experiments as far as I'm concerned. Now, some of you know that I don't believe in coincidences. And one of the things that happened was a tree branch, beautiful actually, a silver birch tree branch, landed in my garden. And it's probably about yay big. Yeah, and it was probably about 20 feet long. Um, so a pretty substantial branch that snapped off. And I knew that I wasn't going to go up my bank to try and get it off the bank. I knew I'd have to wait for help, and that came today in the form of Doug. And the interesting thing was, he said to me, "What are you going to do with it?" And I said, "I need to keep it. So I need it cut up into bits about this long so it's easy to handle. But I'm keeping it. All the little twigs and things I will be putting in the compost. But the branch, the thinner branches, I'm going to use to support my peppers and peas and things like that during the growing season. But the actual trunk, the main part of the branch, that's about yay thick." I don't believe in coincidences. Can you see what that sleigh and horse are sitting on? You see it's a cut of a silver birch branch. Now yeah, I know. How about that, huh? And so now my branch is not quite as big as that, but it still is great. I'm sorry that Kimmy's just saying that she has rheumatoid arthritis and osteoporosis. So yeah, I have rheumatoid arthritis as well. Hi, Ange, good to see you. Um, so just to let you know, Kimmy, it's painful and you need to be careful, but so many of us live with it. Luckily, I don't have osteo, and I believe that's because I refuse to give up eating dairy. I've eaten dairy all my life, and I may pay the price somewhere else, but I believe and the reason is that it is in my family, and I decided I wasn't going to stop eating dairy. And I know that about 20 years ago, I had a test done on my bones, and the woman said to me, "I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you," and she said, "You obviously do a lot of exercise." Yeah, right. Um, and and I said, Really?" And she said, "Yeah." And she said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because you got the bones of a 20-year-old." And I was, 55 at the time. So I said, "That's good to hear." So just keep, you need, I'm a great believer in everything about your body. The more you use it, the less you will lose it, sort of thing. So, and I don't know if you can see there, Kimmy, but this one finger is already deformed with rheumatoid arthritis, and yes, it's painful. But I'm still doing very intricate work like this. Why? Because I still can, and I will fight through it until I really definitely can't. And I believe this is good therapy. All right. Yeah, Jody has the same issue. So, and I also have problem. I don't know if you can see with this. This bends, and so does this one. So, yeah, how about this for a quote? How will you know if it's the right decision if you never make it? So some of us really put off making decisions for fear that we're going to make a wrong one. Well, I think I made the quote on Friday where it said, you know, um, and the only way you make right decisions is by experience, and the only way you get experience is by making wrong decisions. So just keep making decisions. They're going to be right for you at the time that you made it. And I don't care how many other people think it's the wrong decision. It was right for you at the time that you made it based on the information you had. And, just move on. You might choose to do it differently another time, but just do it, right? Um, so now, how many of you remember that just before, was it beginning of December, Duggan just came over to help me put the tree up? If you remember, I just had my operation a few weeks before that, and so they came to help me get my Christmas decorations out and put the tree up for me. So now we got a situation where at that time, I don't know if you remember me talking about it, but Doug was spending a bit more time in my shed than I thought he should. Therefore, I thought something might be wrong. But the funny thing was, Jess said, no, he's probably just tidying up in there. That's what he does. Well, for some reason, I never really had a reason to go into the shed for the last month, except this week. I wanted to tidy some things away, part of my tidying up, my 15 minutes a week. And I had a whole lot of stuff sitting uh, ready to go into the shed. And I went, okay, today's the day. Spend my 15 minutes, get the stuff into the shed and put in proper places. And I was dreading it a little bit because my shed is like a Jenga puzzle. You be very careful when you move anything because a whole lot of things can fall over. Uh, and I sort of undid the code, on the lock and everything else. And I opened the door and I went to squeeze my way and I stopped and I went, very short word. I just literally stood there and went, what happened to my shed? Where there were boxes sort of leaning, ready to fall over all over the place before, suddenly there weren't any. Where you had to, basically go cross country um, to get from, one part of the shed. I have a big shed, long. To get from one place, you had to sort of pick your way through it. No, not anymore. Straight line. It was just like you could see floor. I mean, hello. Okay, what happened to my shed? Looked like it was twice the size. And I went, Doug. Doug happened to my shed. That day when Jess and I were putting up the tree, he was in the shed doing something. He needed something in there, but he must obviously stayed extra time and was busy doing exactly what Jess said, which was tidying up. I want to tell you that it was so startling that I cried, what he had done. And then I felt, I don't know if this makes any sense to you, I felt devastated because he had done it and I hadn't seen it. So I immediately sent him a note and told him how grateful I was and how sorry I was that I hadn't had reason to go into the shed until this week. And then he said something back that I thought was, really something we all need to be mindful of, which was that, when we do something a little bit above and beyond what somebody expects, it is always a pleasant surprise. And so that to me was a nice reminder. And I have to say that the word that came to my mind when I thanked him was I was just stunned. I literally stood there in awe of what a great job he'd done in such a short time. I noticed, however, that I have got 5 or 6 banker boxes full of books. Why? Maybe more. I think I've got another 2 boxes full of books on tape. You remember in the days when we had cassette players? Um, so big challenge now is to systematically get those into the car and donate them. First of all, find out where I can donate them, and then donate them. Of course, a lot of them are paperbacks, and I'm thinking part of those could go in my compost and feed my worms, but we'll see. But how many of you understand about those voices in your head? Well, somebody might want to read them, and I'm going, most people today, if they want to read, do it on their device. I wonder what percentage, Jody, if you're capable, can we find out what percentage of people choose to read books on their devices now instead of the hard copy? It'd be interesting. I find it interesting with the release of Prince Harry's book. How many he did both the hard copy and the audiobook, because now that's the other thing that people do is instead of reading it, they listen to it. So all very interesting stuff when you think about it. So I'm going, why do I need to do that? All right, so Angela's saying that she listened to books on Audible and she got the book. Good. It's really interesting. Yeah. And your library will have it. If you've got a library, you'll probably have to wait a while to get it because but you can get it for free if you want to, Kimmy. If you've got a library in your town, which I think you must have. All right, here we go. Thank you, Jody. She does such a good job at this stuff, right? 28% read ebooks today. 56 of the respondents said they only read print. So still half of the world still prefers the hard copy. And 14% prefer ebooks. 7% prefer audiobooks. Yeah. So Kimmy's saying, that she used to read, but her eyes are going bad. I want to tell you, Kimmy, from my experience in Canada, and I'm pretty sure it must be roughly the same in the States, even in Kentucky, that you can actually sign into your library, get a library card online, and then you can rent audiobooks from them. Borrow books from your library without going near them. Yes, Angela's saying that she actually listens to books while she walks the dogs. So, there's no excuse today to not do that. You can't. You don't have to buy books anymore. It is just amazing to me. It is said that life presents you with so many decisions. A lot of times they're right in front of your face, but they're really difficult, and we must make them. So I don't think any of us like making difficult decisions. As some of you know, my furnace stopped working. I was talking about it on Friday. And, it's like, wow, now what? Before I get on to that, I just want to tell you a story about. Some of you know I got a robotic cleaner called Clarence the Cleaner. I have to give him a name because he does such a good job. And, really, he asks for so little, just that I, let him charge up once a week. And yeah, just amazing. Anyway, so something told me that maybe it had been a couple of weeks since I'd sent Clarence the Cleaner around. Now, I've got a vacuum that does a wonderful job as well that I use for touching up and stuff. But I thought, I haven't really sent Clarence around to go and look in all the nooks and crannies and pick up all the hair that I drop and all that sort of stuff. So, but maybe, I've been pretty good about keeping the place clean. So probably I want to tell you something. Every time I send Clarence the Cleaner out to go, and I call it, I always think about Beth, but instead of Tour of Duty, the game, I call it Tour of Dirty. And It is really funny how I sent him to do that, and I set my watch for 1 hour, and when he's been going for an hour, I stop him and I empty out the little container. It was solid. I'm not joking. Absolutely solid. I went, "You did a really good job, Clarence." Literally, it was bulging out. There was so much stuff in it. Where he found it, I have no idea. But I emptied it and cleaned it all up for him, and then, sent him again for another hour. Yeah, and half full again. Yeah, it was scary. But it does remind me that the decision I made to spend the money to get him was not a waste of money. Because I find my other vacuum thing that I have is wonderful for my craft work and for doing stuff. But when I want to go, in all the nooks and crannies, send Clarence. And I don't know, he gets under chairs and under stuff and just does a good job. So some of the decisions that we make at the time are very difficult because they're expensive. All right. Now, how many of you understand that the fact that my furnace is not working requires some major decision making? Do I get a new furnace? The furnace is old. Do I get a new furnace? Is one possibility. Do I bring somebody in and get it fixed, which is far cheaper but still expensive? Or the third one I have, and I don't know why this came to my mind, do I need a furnace? And the reason I say that is, I have a fireplace that is very effective and heats at least half the house. And I have electrical ceramic heaters that can top it up to whatever I want. Hi, Kez. Good to see you. Kez is saying, hi, I read books, but few. Time to go on holidays. Take an ebook to save on weight. Audio, it depends on the voice if I can listen to it. Isn't that the truth, Kez? Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Do I have home warranty? Is that like insurance? I don't think I have warranty. I have insurance. That's not warranty. And all right, so Kim is saying you have to be careful with fireplaces. I have a gas fireplace, and it just does a wonderful job. I've never regretted I had one in my last house, and just love it. So there we go. Here's a nice quote for you. Trust yourself to make the right choices for you. Right? Trust yourself to make the right choices for you. And we scare ourselves stupid, don't we? All right. So Angela's saying she actually has home warranty, and that will take care of any major appliances. It's a really good idea. I doubt they would put a warranty on some of the. I think my boiler also is pretty old. Now, the reason I wanted to talk to you about all the stuff that I'm doing and the downsizing, one of the things that I know that this is about the time of year where you start thinking spring's coming up, and that means spring cleaning. Some of you have been promising yourself, and probably one of your New Year's resolutions, I am downsizing and simplifying my life this year. Some of you are saying, I am fed up with the clutter. I just got to find the time to get rid of it. And another year passes and you're still saying the same thing. Well, I'm quoting Jody now because I had heard Jody say this for a few years now. So I said to Jody, all right, I am about to become your your accountability buddy. And so what I said to her was, how about that you simplify, downsize, or tidy for 15 minutes a week? Over and above what you do other than that, but for 15 minutes a week, you commit to doing that work. Do you all agree that we can all find 15 minutes? All right. And so, yeah, Andrew, the reason that I can't buy that is because I don't live in America. Yeah. All right. So, this is what I realized. It's the same thing as I try to spend 5 minutes every day on doing this sort of thing, but find 15 minutes a week. And I recommend you get a buddy to do this with. And the reason I say that is because I said to Jody, all right, I've had enough of this. Now I'm going to help you. And here's what I recommend: the 15 minutes before you eat on Tuesdays. You see, you need to pick a day. I don't know why it's so important. You got to know if this is Tuesday, it's that, clean up the clutter day. And I just need to find 15 minutes, right? You all know you can do that. So, here is the reality. I said to Jody, 15 minutes before you eat your dinner on Tuesdays, you and Lionel, 15 minutes. The interesting thing is, yeah, it's like, yeah, Jody's saying it's like her phone call Mondays. Yes, I actually have got onto that as well, because I have phone calls I need to make tomorrow as well. And I'm going, oh, that's Mondays. I do that. So what I said to Jody, all right, do that. Now, the other thing was I made another statement, which was, by the way, Jody, I will be checking in on Wednesdays. Now, that probably is not what you wanted to hear. You see, I love Jody to bits, and therefore I am willing to be her accountability buddy. And I know she won't lie to me because she's an honest person. And what I am doing is I've got a note in my daytimer that every Wednesday I need to check in with Jody to find out what they did. And I want them to know that that's going to be happening every Wednesday. You see, if they know, I remember that from management way back. And I remember reading a quote that I never forgot, that the staff respect what the boss inspects. So if your staff know that every Tuesday you're going to be checking on da 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 da, they will all be ready for that, or most will. But if they just know it's sometime, they won't bother. But if they know she always does that on a Tuesday, round about lunchtime on a Tuesday. Children, the same thing. Is if you do a tidiness of their room check, every, Tuesday afternoon, they will have a total mess in their room for the rest of the week. But they will know that's coming up. By the way, really good idea to have that linked to their allowance if you give them an allowance. So now, the thing is, Jody, am I correct in saying the fact that you know I'm going to be checking on you and that you don't lie to me will make a difference? Am I correct in that? Now, how much time does it take out of my day? Not very much, because I speak to Jody every day anyway. I text her every day. And what it takes is that I keep moving the thing forward to Wednesdays, the note to say that, check on Jody. But there's something psychological about the fact that somebody is going to ask you that makes a difference. So my question to you is, because we are a group of people that like to help one another, how many of you could do with an accountability buddy at the moment? Kez is saying, this year, I want to do more experiences than buy things that I think make me happy. But it doesn't have to be clean, and find a spot in my small unit, and then only remember. Oh, yeah. I only remember I've got it when I do a big clean 6 months later. I want to tell you, that's what's in that, one of the big Christmas totes. I took all my Christmas decorations out that I wanted to put in the house and still had 1.5 totes of decorations left. So, Kez, totally agree with you. It seemed like a good idea at the time, right? And then the voices happen. Am I correct on that one, Kez? You pick it up and you go, I only bought this 6 months ago. If I throw it away now, it's a waste of money. No. The truth is, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. How many of you have bought something on sale and you only bought it because really that was a really good price? You've never worn it. Still hangs in your closet. And it's just like when you can see that we do it all the time, then you can get a sense of humor. So what you need is somebody to help you say, to be a contrary voice in your head that says it is not a waste of money. It's taking up valuable space. And if you clean your space, simplify your life, if you get rid of some of the clutter, you don't have to get rid of it all. Get rid of some of the clutter. You will feel so much better as long as you don't start buying to fill it up again. So no excuses, just 15 minutes per week for 52 weeks. That will give you 13 hours of downsizing, decluttering, or cleaning, and a happier life. And what if you did that for the next 5 years? My goal, and the only way that I can do it effectively, it's just my way, is that big tote that I've got, all right? The only way I can do it effectively is not to rummage through it and try and get things. What I need to do is take the whole lot and put down some protection for my beautiful white duvet cover, but literally turn the whole thing upside down and put the clean tote next to me. And now in every single thing, remember the three things, all right? You purge. Number one, do I really need it in my life? If the answer is no, is it good enough to donate, or is it time for it to go to the trash? All right. And so that's the trick. And my goal is at the very least to only put half back, whether it's a drawer, whether it's a closet, whether it's whatever, that is what my goal always is, to just put half of it back if possible. So if any of you would like a buddy for that, let us know and we'll try and work it out. Now, Kimmy's saying, sell it, get money back. All right, now that works really well. I understand that, Kimmy. However, what I would say is for some of us, the time it takes to sell it and get to the post office and mail it and the all that complication is not worth it. It's not worth the money. But for some people, it is definitely worth it. So that is a personal choice. Remember, that's what we're talking about, the decisions that we choose. Kez is saying some YouTubers are doing the 30-day clutter challenge where you get rid of one thing every day. Yeah. And you see, this is the whole thing. If you get into the habit of doing that, not even for 30 days, what if you did it for every day for the rest of your life? I actually work really hard at trying to get rid of one thing. If I'm putting my makeup on, I look at where my makeup is and I go, do you really need all of this stuff? Yeah, but I got that one. Never mind how you got it. Do you really need all of this stuff? And I challenge myself to try and consistently throw something away, at least once a week up from my makeup drawer. Or, I got a couple of, one's makeup and one's hair stuff and so forth. I keep trying to downsize it all the time. And by the way, what I found works really well, I've got one of those little, my drawer is quite deep. And so I've got one of those caddies, that is like a 4-part caddy. I think it's made for, normally people have it for cleaning, they pick it up and they Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like a little plastic caddy, and normally you would put the Windex in there and the Lysol or whatever. But I use it for my makeup. All right. Um, and I've got another one for the things like the Lysol and everything. So very useful. And the other things that I would remind you about in a drawer or a closet or a cupboard is, are you using all the space, or are you only using half of it? And so what I find is, think vertically, not horizontally. You will be amazed how many things will go in an old glass and take up far less room than if they're horizontal. All right. So Jody's saying that's an issue I have, trying to find good organizational system for my makeup. I don't care whether it's a mason jar, an old glass. You don't have to buy new stuff. Think vertically, right? We're inclined to put our makeup horizontally, and I don't do that anymore. If you think about it, all your brushes, all your, if you've got pencil type lipsticks, if you've got, it's amazing the difference. All right. Kez is saying, I've got a redo prompt. Why do I need to buy card just because I lost the first one and put it in my purse? You know something? There's so many things. What have you got in your purse that doesn't need to be there? There's another great one. Now, on the other hand, you know that I am a reuser of things, right? I definitely somebody. Jody, hang on. I got an empty one here. Yeah, hold on. It's not empty, but Jody, these are the containers from the milk that you introduced me to. Great vertical space. Cut them here. All right. How often do you buy your milk? So in the next 6 weeks, you probably could have 3 to 6 new containers, and they all match, and they're white. Now, they don't come like those people. It comes with a sleeve around it that I cut off. I'm finding these bottles really useful, not only for my hydroponics, but for all sorts of things. They just are a really useful, well-made thing. So just, take a sharp knife. Yes, Kimmy's saying tin cans, a good storage, great storage. So don't think that you've got to keep buying new. Reuse, recycle. I even keep my for those of you who buy cream like this, right? Think vertical. I always love it when it's vertical. Now, I put my plants in here and grow them hydroponically once they get strong enough. But imagine cutting the top off there, and you've got a vertical storage. You will be, I don't know if your brushes are vertical at the moment. By the way, if you want to keep it on your countertop, you just need to paint it or cover it with Mac tack. Is that what they call it? I don't know what they call it in the States. Stuff you put in your shelves. So the most important decision you make is to be in a good mood. So if you find yourself giving an excuse, contact paper. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Jody. If you find yourself giving an excuse, I don't have enough time, it is not true. If you get really honest with yourself, do whenever I start saying I don't have enough time to do that, I say, are you sure? And I will take a day timer, or literally one of those ones that has all the hours in it, like an appointment one. And I will start writing in what I'm doing every hour of the day. And then you realize how much time you waste. You start off really well, first hour. By the third hour, you are sitting around doing diddly, playing another game, think I'll watch the roses grow, whatever. It's just amazing. And so I find when I'm not doing the right amount, that I force myself to look at every hour. The other way that I do it is to actually put one task in for every hour. It's all I have to do, one task. If I do it in 10 minutes, I can, play a game for the rest of the hour if I want to. So do you agree on my comment now about I don't have to replace the furnace? And you're going, well, what about if you sell the house and it hasn't got a furnace? Well, just sell the house and saying the furnace needs to be replaced. And I didn't want to replace it because maybe you'd like a different one. And so, I'm not planning to sell the house, but what I'm thinking about is I don't have to do that. A lot of people heat their houses with electric, not with furnaces. So, yes, will it be more expensive? I'm going to look into that. If so, how much more expensive? And over the course of the next 10 years, is that more than a new furnace? It's like I don't have a lot of money to throw around, so let me think about that. I'm not in a rush. How about this? It says, get into the habit of asking yourself, does this support the life I am trying to create? How many of you know between buying a new furnace and having more things to play with, you know which way I would prefer to spend my year? And if I buy the furnace, it would limit what I can do somewhere else. One of the things I've decided this year is not to take the Christmas lights out of my tree outside. They're staying there. I'm just disconnecting them and they can stay there. Interesting. Kez is saying, I love your honesty, Kez. I always have. Pinterest has great ideas on how to recycle items, hundreds of ways. Yes, we have programs on that sometimes. I do a broadcast on it every now and then. I know I can watch less screen time, but I have to work on that to get more done. You don't have to. But if you stop the excuses, don't say you haven't got time. I say, what are you prepared to not do today so that you have time? I always have time. We will always have time for the things we really want to do. If suddenly somebody phoned you up and said, Kez, I've got tickets for you to see your favorite musical artist, and you've got a backstage pass. It's tomorrow. Can you find the time? You're going to tell me you wouldn't make a plan? Or if I said to you, Kez, I'd give you $1 million if you could find the time. I'm sure you'd find it. You see, it's about what we want to do, not whether we have the time. So remember that. Does this support the life I am trying to create? All right? So when you look at everything, ask yourself that question. Does this support the life I'm trying to create? I'm trying to downsize my life. Is this supporting it? No. It's just another box of bits that I've collected. So I'm not going to take the lights down off my tree. That means next year it'll be much simpler, right? Because I want to simplify my life. I won't need help getting the lights up in the tree. I'll just go, there we go. Let's plug back in again. Unless, of course, something goes wrong with the lights, in which case then I will need to replace them. I also need to remember the difference between what works for me and what works for other people. How many of you get caught on that one? We're trying to do things the way our mum did, or we're trying to do it because, Frida's coming and she has this perfect home. And, it's like we don't have time for that anymore. Right? One of the things that, to me, I look at, I've spent more time in my craft room getting that organized because I love to be in there and creating and using my mind and using my fingers and everything else. I love that space, but it's total clutter because I've got so much stuff in there. So what I do now, well, whilst a Christmas tree is being cut out, I have time to do some tidying up. Or what I've also found is, whilst something is cutting out, I can actually construct another one. So, it's just like use your time better. Multitask. And most people don't multitask. They just sit around and waste time. So again, I've got my craft room has 25, 35, 40, probably has 48 cubies in it. I'm just doing a guess. My goal is to get through every one of those this year and halve it. In other words, that I will end up with 24 empty ones. Now, if I have 24 empty ones, I can actually use that cubie space, to display work that I'm doing. That's part of my goal. I I have the perfect wall to display these tea light houses in my dining room, and I have a dark chocolate, no, not chocolate, a dark French blue. Do you know what I mean by that? A very dark gray blue in my dining room, and I have white shelving units in front of it. The houses will look wonderful against that dark wall, and so I'm going. That's what I'm going to do. I've also I want to work on ways to actually contain the houses, right? I was thinking they would look really good on, I was thinking they look really good on a breadboard. Um, I'm going to pick up a couple of bread. This is a round one from the dollar store. All right. But, a collection of houses on a breadboard, and maybe, uh, maybe on a lazy Susan so that they turn around. I've been having all sorts of wonderful creative ideas. So, it's the right thing for me to be doing. Kez is saying, I've been trying, stop trying, Kez. I've been trying to say more regularly to myself, does it make me happy? I know I can do cleaning while screen time is on. I have done that before a house inspection. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do. If you're watching regular TV, it is mind blowing what you can do in 2 minutes. Just to give you some sort of idea, one of the things I really am amazed at is watching the way that Doug and Jess, how much they get done in a day. Do you know that the they came for just over an hour today? I want you to listen to this. And I know what they're capable of doing. So in 1 hour, we all unwrapped little Christmas presents. Ood and ard and thanked everybody. That was fine. We then went out. Doug got the big branch off the bank. He started chopping the smaller twigs off it, like minor branches off. He handed them to Jess. Jess then handed them to me, and I was breaking those up into one big pile that I will put into the organics bin over the course of the next few weeks. And then you're literally in half an hour, just by really doing the job and not talking too much, but just doing. We laughed a lot while we were doing it. We got the whole branch cut up into pieces like this. We have the branches inside the shed drying. We have the pile of twigs that will go into the compost. But here's the thing. I will, as I'm getting them into the compost, decide which ones I want to keep to support my peppers and my tomatoes and stuff like that. And the rest of them I will break down. But we did it in half an hour, including all the cutting of the tree. Now I've got an electric wood cutter saw. I've got an electric saw, so that made it pretty easy. I don't mean a big chainsaw. I mean, I've got one about this long. And we did it in no time. So I found out, it's amazing what you can do in 2 minutes. I found out, just so that you know, because I'm more aware of time than I've ever been as I get older. I know now if I want to put in 3,000 steps, I can do it in half an hour watching television. I'm not joking. I can stand up, watch television, and I can get in 3,000 steps watching television for half an hour if I choose to get off my fat behind and walk inside watching television. I know that I can get 1,500 in 15 minutes. Do you understand? But I have to choose. I have to make the decision. And it's a good decision. It's about choices, isn't it? Life is about choices. Some we regret, some we're proud of, some will haunt us forever. We are what we choose to be. If you have a house that looks like it is a yard sale, it is because you choose to do that. Now, I am doing everything in my power every week to be able to say, does it still look like I've got a jumble sale going on here? I know I can keep a tidy house. I sold my house. I kept it clean for 6 months, for God's sake. So I know I'm capable of doing it. And I also have a house that has far less storage space than my previous one. So and I've already downsized a whole lot, but I need to do the whole lot again. Or not. I can choose to be that person that trips over everything, like my shed was. So, is it possible to get rid of half if I want to? I've got way more clothes than I need. What about you guys? Way more clothes. I have one closet full of clothes that I wear that season, and I have another closet full of the other season clothes. I don't go out worth a diddly squat these days. Why do I need so many clothes? So what I am going to be doing is I've still got boxes that I haven't unpacked from the fire, about 10 of them, I think. It maybe not quite as many. But the problem is I don't have anywhere to put the stuff that's in it. So my number one goal after I've got the Christmas thing done is to build another cubi unit so that I can sort it into areas. You know what I mean? And I cannot tell you how much that helps me. If I open a box and I go, do you have somewhere to put this right now? And is that, I have things in categories now. I don't care if the category containment box is untidy. It's just like gardening stuff goes in there. Travel stuff goes in there, and I just have these little cubies full of stuff. So at least I know where to go for it. And sometimes you will be amazed if you say, but I'm only going to have 1 cubie for my garden. Now, that's impossible for me for my garden stuff, but you understand what I'm saying. It's just like you make the decision how much space you're going to give it. And if I came to your house, that's another question. If I came to where you lived, what impression do I get when I walk through the door? And I realize that part of the reason I don't like people arriving unannounced is because I haven't had time to tidy up. And what I decided was I'm not living like that anymore. I'm going to do everything I can to keep my public. Actually, you know something? I'm doing everything I can to keep my house tidy now. Some days are better than others. I've always said that you know how stressed I am as to how tidy my house is. So, can I build those cubi units on my own, or do I need help? It would be a lot easier for me if I had help. I've got to say that. So, I may invite somebody over for dinner or something and say, "Can you help me build a couple of cubies?" Remember, the rule that I heard was empty it all out of the box, all right? Then divide it into things that you want to throw away and then things you want to keep but need to contain. In other words, the pencils together, the office supplies in one place, know where it's going. And then the other one is donate it if you can. So I look at it and I cannot tell you the freedom I felt. For those of you who helped me last week, you remember those all those cloths I had, old face cloths and stuff like that. I cannot tell you how it felt when I just went into the garbage. And that bag of old pens and pencils, I tied them in double knots, those bags, so I wouldn't be tempted to look at them again. When I finished the broadcast, I did double knots on those grocery bags, and then I took them and put them. I believe I had them in the garbage within half an hour of closing the broadcast. Thank you for helping me. So when you think about these choices that we make, we choose not to spend the time doing 15 minutes a week or a day. Some people could do 15 minutes a day. They have the time if they really wanted to. So my attitude is pick a day. Decide whether it's Wednesdays or whatever, and you don't have to spend hours at it. Can you do you have the discipline? Do you have the self-respect to do 15 minutes? Because if you say no to that, you don't want to tidy up. And remember Tony Robbins, I think I said this on Friday as well, right? It's in the moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. So if I came and said, you said you wanted to get your house decluttered, do you have enough evidence to show me that you meant it? And that's the whole thing. Are you doing the right things, or are you spending more time on the excuses? And when you give up on the excuses, it's amazing what you can get done. Remember, I always am blown away at how much Doug and Jess get done. Why? They don't talk about it, they do it. Amazing. And if you find yourself talking about it, if you're in a relationship with somebody, say to them, I don't want you to listen to me talk about tidying up anymore. If I start talking about, I really should do that, stop me and say, stop wasting time talking about it. Go do it now. You see, that's helping somebody. Don't talk about it. Do it. I, for example, had something I needed to get mailed. And I realized if Doug left the property where I am, the community where I am, and took the left-hand route as opposed to the right-hand route, he was going to pass the mailbox. So I just said, do me a favor, honey, huck that, go this way out. and huck that in the post box for me. It's making more time for myself, right? Kes is saying, I have people who help me at home say to me, if you have unopened boxes and the contents have not been opened in 6 months, just donate it without looking, find it. Yes, let it go without opening it. I want to tell you something. That is, I have a concern, and maybe you're right. I have a concern because the boxes I haven't opened are my artwork. My artwork and my art supplies. I've got paint and paints and all sorts of stuff. And the reason that I haven't opened them is that is the room I had designated to become my studio. But it ended up being the store shed, the storage container. And so, yeah, but a good idea. All right. The other thing I find, Kez, I don't know if you've heard me talk about that, but in my closet, I'm inclined, I don't know whether you use your clothes from the right-hand side, the left-hand side, or from the middle. I'm pretty certain you have a way of taking your clothes out. I put my clothes in basically, I have certain clothes that stay on the right-hand side, but from the sort of 1/3 in all the way out, I put them on the right-hand side of that grouping. What I do is every season I see what is on the far left-hand side, and the chances are I have not taken it out. And if I haven't taken it out in a season, why would I keep it for another season? I donate it. Don't have to do the whole thing. Just every season, take one more out. Try not to buy another one. The other thing that I think it was Beth came up with something that really blew my mind. She said, keep your clothes in outfits rather than, these are where all your pants are, these are all your tops and everything else. And I've started to do that. So, for example, when this lot comes out of the wash, I don't put the T-shirt with the T-shirts, the cardigan with the cardigans, and the pants with the pants. I put the whole lot back on a hanger as one outfit. And what surprised me is how many outfits I've got. When you keep your stuff in outfits, I have got definitely enough for 2 weeks if I choose to keep rotating them. But we don't, do we? We keep wearing the same stuff. So I think it is time for us to relook at what we really want. And I'm so glad you're here, Kez, making that input, because how many of us have got a drawer that we haven't opened in 6 months? Or whatever that we haven't opened in 6 months. Tell you what I've got. I've got a most beautiful huge silver serving tray from my heritage. And on it, I have about 24 bottles of booze. I don't drink. You know what I mean? I'm not a drinker. That booze has been there for a long time. I'm going, why is it taking up valuable space in my life? All right. So I am going to get really brave. Well, I love the tray. It's the most beautiful tray. It's about this big, right? Big serving tray. And I love it. But, that's from another era. That's from the days when I used to entertain a lot. It was wonderful and still is. It's still beautiful, but it can become a decoration rather than a drink holder. And what can I do with the drinks? They can go in a cubie in the back room. All right. So if I do need to feed somebody a drink, I still got them. They're just not taking up my space. Am I making any sense with this? There is a difference between keeping stuff and what do you choose to have in your space. I am trying really hard in my kitchen. In that top drawer, only stuff that I use every day. Second drawer, sort of stuff I use once a week. Third drawer, once a month type stuff. Anything else, if I don't use it once a month, It shouldn't be in my kitchen. Well, Kez, exactly. Kez is saying, what about displaying my villages on the silver? Wouldn't that look magnificent? So you see, that's what I want to do. I want to change, you know, my shelving unit in my dining room. It's got some of my artwork, which I love. I've got a lot of stuff from Africa. I've got some beautiful glass decanters, which are very pretty. Empty, but really pretty. I've got this huge thing of uh, booze that I don't use. Underneath, I have got boxes, white ones, so they match the unit. One, two, three, four, five white banker boxes. Full of probably office supplies, is my guess. And I'm really not sure because I haven't opened them up in 6 months. And a whole box of glasses, a complete set of glasses, sort of drinking glasses, shot glasses, not shot glasses, a complete set. Now, that doesn't need to be in my dining room. The only time I'm ever going to use that is if I'm suddenly entertaining 12 people, I would need that box. It can go in the shed. Am I making any? I have to make room in the shed. That's why the books have to go. And so, I keep looking at it this way and going, what am I doing with this stuff? It's not serving me, and it's just clutter. Right. Kez is saying, what about use some of the item on the shelving unit and now think about putting my art supplies on it? Now, I don't want, art supplies are really messy things. I don't want those in my living area, but good idea. So I'd rather use it as a display area. I think that's a brilliant idea. So, this is about what is it that if I walked into your house, what is it that is clutter? And look at it and say, why do I have that there? Is there any reason why I have my dining room table completely laid and it's like it's laid for a dinner party? Why? I haven't had a dinner party since I got back here. I've had a dinner party with 2 bottles of wine on there. It looks really pretty. But that, I could be using that space in a far better way. So I can't be the only one, right? Tell me you understand what I'm talking about, please. Please tell me I'm not alone in this. And that when you look at stuff, why do you have it? Oh, yeah. So this is all about, can I use it better somewhere else? That's the point that Kez is making. And does it, I don't care how old, pained, or whatever it is you are, if you really want to do it, you can. You could move one thing every day, and that would be 365 things moved by the end of the year. But we keep talking about it, and we don't do it. So that is your right. That is your right. Just stop saying that you want to do it if you don't. And I think that is, David Miller said, make decisions with the long term in mind. If you have been talking about downsizing or decluttering or tidying up that one shelf, Do me a favor, stop talking about it, take 3 minutes and take everything off the shelf, give it a quick wipe down, and then say only half goes back. The rest either gets put away or thrown away or donated. And put things in categories. So the stuff that you might need sometime in this generation, put it in a box in the shed, or yeah, whatever. It's just like, if you're not using it on a weekly basis, why is it in your, or on a monthly basis even? I think that would be the big thing. And sure, you're allowed to have display cabinets and stuff like that if that's what you want. But I'm looking at it going, how much space am I wasting with things for other people to look at? Yeah, I could be putting those away. Kimmy's saying, I have religious puzzle pictures that I put together and framed. I took them off the wall to paint and never put them back on the wall. Yeah. Do you know something, Kimmy? When I came here, uh, I after the fire, they had um, they had a lot of my artwork that I had done in big boxes, and I used the big boxes full of artwork as a headboard. I covered it, uh, but I use it as no, because they're tall. They're about this big, and so I use it as a headboard. Now I have no idea what's in them, and I don't need them. And yes, I could donate them for maybe auctions and stuff for people. But it's just like I've got this 2 boxes full of possible artwork. I have no idea what's in them, and I don't need them. Think about that. So less time thinking about it, less time talking about it, more time doing it. Jody was asking me, how do I put the broadcast together the way that I do? And one of the things I said is, understand I don't do it in the time you think I do. You see, I'm writing the broadcasts all week. Did you know that? I think some of you might know that. I have a day timer, and in my day timer, I have one page for Friday noon, one page for Friday evening, and one page for Sunday. And anything happens in the week that I think might be helpful for you to hear about, I will write it in one of those pages. Or I will write a note and I stick it somewhere in whatever room I'm in. And then later it goes into my day timer. So by the time I go to write the broadcast, I already have um, most of the material I need. I just got to put it together under some sort of system. Or, as I said to Jody, sometimes I really want to talk about something else and I don't even use what I've collected all week. Kimmy's asking, why don't I sell my art? Yes, very good idea. Yeah, probably the same reason uh, that I never have. I don't know. I don't have a reason why I don't sell it. Uh, I'm a creative person. I love to create. I don't love selling. Quite simple. It's not. Why did I do YouTube for 10 years and not bother to make money out of it? It wasn't why I came to YouTube, right? I came to YouTube to help people, and I'm happy that I've done that. So, to me, it's a different mentality. And so where would you sell art, Kimmy? Because I know you do a lot of online selling. I am busy trying to find out to get the commercial license for the villages, because I can't be the only person that thinks those villages are beautiful. And so then, but that whole collection is about, I don't know, maybe 20 different pieces. And to buy the license to make all of those, that's quite a lot of money. And I'm going, are you going to spend the money doing that when you need a new furnace? And part of me goes, if you do, you need to start selling it. All right. So These are decisions I have to make. Decisions aren't easy. I am not the only one that has got these difficult decisions to make. I know that you're making your own. I'm hoping that by discussing it, whether it's the furnace, the villages, or my artwork, all right, we all have mental blocks. Whether it's decluttering, whatever, we all have mental blocks, and it suits us because we don't have to do anything. The excuse is easier than the action. So here we go. Be decisive, right or wrong, make a decision. The road of life is paved with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision. Aren't you love that? Okay, so Kim is saying, it depends how big or heavy it is. I only have one really quite big piece of art. Some of you have seen it, the big eagle. And that probably is fairly valuable for the size that it is. So you understand, it's like, how much of it will still be here after I pass? I wonder. I wonder. And will I regret never having sold it? Oh, you love the cityscape. Yeah. Again, to me, and for those of you who haven't seen that, it's easy for me to get. All right, so let's talk about this, right? This I did when I was stuck in an apartment after the fire. Get that the right angle. On a very rainy Vancouver type day, and I decided I did it on Amazon cardboard because I didn't have any canvases with me. All right. The difference was that when it was finished and I liked it, if you look very carefully, you won't be able to see it, but there is actually the line of the cardboard here. But what I did is I went and took it and had it properly framed. So I turned something into a work of art, right? And this is one of the original, probably dusty, this is one of the little ones I did. I still love this. All right, Jody, you will remember in the days when I started doing this sort of art. And I still love it to bits. It's meant to be the other way up. I love the color. I love the feel of it. How did I get the clouds like that? It's just like great memories. It gave me a lot of joy. So, you know something? It's got a lot of paint on the back of it for some reason. You're right. I think because, Kimmy, I know that I need to frame them, and that would be, I've got a lot of it that's unframed, and that's a big expense. But I don't really have a good reason. So, good question, Kimmy. Yeah, it is hard to get rid of art that you have done. I gave one beautiful piece of art away to the person who bought my house because they loved it so much. And I said, well, then let me leave it for you so that part of me stays with the house. So what I want to say is we all have the mental blocks. Okay. And we will always spend our money where we want to. We will always spend our time where we want to. And we are, as the quotes so rightly say, the product of the decisions that we make. Whether we decide to sit and watch TikTok for an hour or to downsize for an hour, that is a decision we make. Oh, but I needed to rest. Hmm. How many hours a day are you spending doing that? Jody will tell you I have completely changed my life in as much as I do things in rotation now. Yeah, every time I go to the washroom, I don't go back to sitting at the computer. On my way back, I visit different rooms and I do one more thing in each room on the way back. If I'm having great fun in my craft room building something, every time I get up, I'm not allowed to go straight back there. I have to go into the kitchen, tidy up the kitchen a bit, or, you know, you understand, it's like a discipline that I've got myself into now. So, Kimmy, I think I can get a lot of help from you in terms of selling stuff. And people said to me, why don't you have something on Etsy, or why don't you, all those sort of things. Good question. Good question. I've got my own website. Why am I not selling stuff on my own website anymore? There we go. This is DearMamaSal saying, don't let's be stressed anymore. Let's just face the reality. The reality is we've got more excuses than we have action. And that's also okay if that's the way you want to do it. All right? If that's the way you want to do it, that's okay. But don't sit and complain about it if you're not doing anything about it. This week, I am going to find boxes for mailing these villages in, because I know these are probably too finicky for most people to make. My other stuff, I could send them and have people make them. These are really difficult, so I'm going to need to send them made. All right. All right, so Kez is saying, I will hopefully towards the end of this year do and sell small art canvases to make it easy to sell them. I love how happy the art will make people. Yeah, you know something? You're so right. All right. I've never tried selling my small artwork. I've probably got about 200 this size, at least, I would think. What I found was I didn't really sell anything on my website. It didn't get sold. So it was a lot of work to update it and everything, and I didn't sell anything through it. So, and a lot of expense to maintain it. So maybe it would pay me to do an Etsy thing and see if I actually, spend the money that way and let Etsy do the promotion. Isabel saying I have a beautiful necklace of yours and a cup. Yes, but that was not through the website. That was through you knowing me as Dear Mama Sal. Am I talking about it? Am I correct? You didn't accidentally come across the website and buy it there. I probably said. But what I am going to do is I am going to write to the Dear Mama Sal people once I've got the creative license going, the commercial license going. All right. You were on the site and you saw the necklace. Okay. Well, there you go. You see. I love you, Is. Thank you. But you know how much it costs to maintain that? It is just mind blowing. It means, I've got to redo it all because I took all that stuff off it, I think. I'll have to see because I had a major glitch in that website. And the idea of redoing it all is just mind blowing. Part of me is going, why don't I just do it on Facebook? Why don't I just sell it on Facebook? Kez is saying you could try a monthly a special local markets. Absolutely, but you know something? I I could not stand at a craft fair for 2 hours without needing to pee. Never mind a whole day. All right. You know what I mean? There's a reason why I don't do that sort of stuff. Plus, standing up all day is not good for me. But the answer is that if I were 30, yes, that's what I would definitely be doing. But I don't think you need to do it. I think I just need to do it properly online. And I'm thinking maybe I put some of it on Marketplace. Maybe I put some of it on my personal website, that's got, um, a lot of people. So, this is all about choices I'm going to be making this year. But you know me well. I have more fun making them rather than selling them. Isn't that weird? Look at my cards. And what amazed me? All those cards that I made, I used so many of them over the Christmas time. I didn't have much left over for stock. Amazing. So that's why I'm starting even earlier this year. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. Make it a wonderful week. And when we get together next Sunday, I'm going to ask you, did you spend 15 minutes? Is that okay? Let's do this together. Let's see if we can do this together. And let's report in. How many of you are up for that? I know Jody is. And Jody, I will be reporting both on myself and on you. There are too many scammers on Marketplace. Yes, that's how many people put things up there for $1 and it's not $1 at all. Yeah. But I do have my personal website as well as the Dear Mama Sal website. And I'm thinking maybe I just need to advertise it on there. All right. So the thing is, I would love to support people. And if you can think of, ways in which to do this, the first thing is I got to make the decision to bite the bullet and buy the commercial license. And then there's that voice that says, that's a lot of money if you don't sell anything. So, big challenge, right? One step at a time, people. I've got it. My step this week is to go and get different boxes at my local post office. Has, you can get certain boxes that you can just put through the mailbox now. And that's what I'm going to do. All right. So Kez is saying, my mom, who is 77, has a business Facebook page and sells sewing items. Wow, really? She makes one a month from home. Wonderful. That's good. Right. So Kimmy, this is it is difficult with the scammers, right? That's why, to me, anything that you can do online, but you don't, you have to be really careful as well. So I like to do the online stuff through PayPal or something like that, so that, it's just like, if I'm getting scammed, I'm not getting scammed. PayPal is, and they do it. They cover it. So that's the main thing. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. And whatever it is you want to do, either do it or shut up about it. And that's how you get to be less stressed. But on the other hand, if you'd like a buddy, let me know at dearmamasal.com, or let me know during a broadcast, and we'll hook you up with somebody who's prepared to be your accountability person. And that's where you'll make sure you get it more done. All right, so here we go. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, look after one another, look after yourself, and most of all, know I really appreciate your time. Let's do this week. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for your help, Jody. There it is. I can say I've lost my mouse. Have a good week, everyone. Bye-bye for now.